It's always the most difficult question to answer is who you are. And that was for a long time a question I tried to answer. Who is Sasha Riess? Is that only my name? Or it's something more behind that story of who really I am? But if I look a little deeper behind the name, would be a hidden little boy, sad, alone, abandoned, and trying to find his place under the sky in this world. And oftentimes the best place to land would be in the arms of the dog. Safe, quiet, place of acceptance, not judgmental, and peaceful. And everything starts from there. Who am I? Who is Sasha Riess? So it's a journey of 30 years trying to answer that question. But everything started to unfold one day when I actually realized that freedom of one lays between the boundaries of his destiny. Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to a new episode of this ongoing podcast named Grooming with a Positive Mental Attitude. My name is Sasha Riess, and today we're going to talk about how we can enjoy a good health and live longer in this amazing industry that we are all at. I started this podcast because I was thinking actually that the positive mental attitude is something that is a secret ingredient to success, and also secret ingredients in service to others. The secret ingredients that can actually liberate us from being surrounded with the people and with the experiences that we really don't enjoy. But the problem is, because of some strange reason, we keep beating the dead horse, trying to reinvent the wheel and trying to think about if we can just try a little harder this time, it's going to work. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen like that. What we are missing purposefully, and that's what can actually, I must tell you that I changed a lot while entire of this podcast is going, because I was revealing some discoveries of mine. I'm also kind of in such a place in my life that I actually face a very difficult, challenging time at this point, because by turning away from industry standards, as I actually might call them, I make a big announcement that I'm actually leaving the industry. I'm leaving the industry. And now I was struggling a lot to find this new identity within myself, because I knew everything I was talking through this podcast was putting me towards the direction of this big change. As the people, as the master, there was a great saying among the masters, and my teacher as well, like maybe 10 years ago, told me the same, where he said, like, there are the three stages in one's life. First, you master something, then you become mentor to the others, and then finally, you make a difference. So in order to get prepared for that portion, don't forget that all of us are led through the same path, mastering the skills, knowledge, and consciousness. But that not necessarily is always in our life how to master the perfect scissoring technique, the perfect profile. What is the profile? What is the perfect poodle profile if there is no poodles anymore? What is the perfect connection in between men, people and the dogs? And then where do we and how do we integrate everything that we learned as of so far and put it in service to the others through the positive mental attitude? It's not only positive mental attitudes towards your coworkers, towards your friends. In this particular session of Grooming with the Positive Mental Attitude podcast, I was bringing attention on positive mental attitude in service to our clients, the dog owners. But in order to serve them with a positive mental attitude, full of empathy and understanding, we need to gain a self-confidence. So we start impacting their life as a mentor, and later on help them achieve the difference in the life. But somehow, because I'm missing the self-esteem, I'm missing a self-confidence. Because of that, I'm thinking that keep mastering and mastering and mastering and mastering my skills are going to improve something. But, paradox of learning is that more you learn on a certain topic, more you see how much is unknown left to learn about. The paradox becomes that more I know about the grooming, more I know about the techniques, more I know about a dog, more I know about the structure, more I know about anatomy, biomechanical model, all other kind of the things, more I see how much unknown is there. More I know, more I see how much I don't know. So there is a reason why every one of us, only in order to finally master your skills, you need to start mentoring someone. Don't forget that how to lead to the point of mentoring someone when we don't have self-esteem grown enough for us to think that we are worthy of mentoring someone. And that's something that needs to grow within us. And it will grow soon or later. But unfortunately, oftentimes in this industry, turns never. Because all of us keep going again and going and researching and trying to learn more and more and more, thinking that I'm going to finally gain a better understanding of what I'm missing. But what I'm really missing is self-confidence. And self-confidence can be developed through the results in a business, but usually leads to lack of integrity, personal integrity. So it's nothing to do with the mastering any skills. It's to do with the character. It's to do with the personal issues. So that is why in my curriculum in the school, we have first 4 modules are dealing with the family constellation systemic issues of every single one of us, to resolve those issues, and then entering the world of mastering the craft of the grooming, and also on the big base of the self-esteem, that while we even introduce the grooming into a school, into a topic, into a modules, we are already developed a clear picture of the life, actually what the life is, what my purpose in that life is, particularly at this stage, developing that inner understanding of the perfectly balanced life within personal and private life. We think oftentimes that we can distinguish those two. Somehow we think that personal success and the success in business doesn't comply. We think that somehow some other laws of nature implement us when in interpersonal relationship with the loved ones, especially with the parents, family, and some other type of laws gonna be found in a relationship with our boss or with our workers or with our people that we are communicating with, our clients. So working with this issue, first of all, solving my own issue, I recognize the hidden dynamic in the business is translated from the very hidden and unconscious dynamic of who I am from my primary and later on secondary family, actually. And everything of that just translates to a translates to a business. And in a business, all kind of successes and all kind of challenges can be met in order to get a chance to solve them. Because in a business, we can count to the every single penny how successful we are. But what we also have a business developed in a puzzle should be bringing us that inner happiness as a final result of life. Like what I want from life. It's not more money. It's not better success. It's not fame and lights of the Hollywood. It's happiness that I'm actually looking for. And as I was talking in a last podcast, that happiness is something that's sustainable happiness is a reward for living strong and brave life. So the happiness is a reward for bravery. And the bravery is oftentimes doing things we know we should do rather than things that will give us short satisfaction and short zadovoljstvo, how you say that? Pleasure. Short pleasures. Because oftentimes we somehow connect pleasure with the happiness. And yeah, they are, but oftentimes I feel happy while I'm eating the chocolate, and I'm slowly coming into a topic of today, because I'm feeling happy eating chocolate, where actually I don't feel happy when, as a result of me overeating here, when I get to the scale or when I start to dress and take jeans or need to go out, I can't, wrap my zipper or wrap my buttons. So that kind of, it's not happiness. It's a short pleasure that is made there by eating chocolate and then overeating on chocolate, and instead of having a piece of chocolate, it turned out to be an entire table of chocolate, and and then that table of chocolate leads to another piece of cake and more cake with the vanilla ice cream and more ice cream just to add a little more, and then wine on top, so I can and all of those pleasures have its price. But how would we be brave to say no to that overdoing things on any level, where actually being strong and brave and precisely making a decision here will lead us to the long reward of the inner happiness, because when I'm able to dress nicely, when I'm able to live happily, not under the pressure, not under depression, not under any source of the how we can say that, like a body-related issues, pain. The pain oftentimes in the grooming business is a result of the bad body posture. The bad body posture is often result of us being overweight. The overweight is oftentimes result of a lot of structural and systemic issues that gravitate from our ancestral lines and our family. But it can be an excuse, but it shouldn't be something that can remain an excuse of me not turning the other page of the book and finally taking my life into consideration and finally dealing with the issues I have, because my health issues and my body issues gonna prevent me from achieving my goals, because I'm gonna feel fatigue and I'm gonna feel depressed and I'm gonna won't be able to do anything because my body will prevent me in doing that. So when we learn about that, where to start, how to start to finding that point that actually all of us are struggling with, how to make a decision and then to stick to it. We all make a decisions every single Monday or every single New Year's resolutions. We make, okay, I myself. So now I'm in this really challenging time of my life. Personally, I'm going through a transition where actually I feel that oftentimes I feel that actually that pressure is in me for, let's say, maybe now over 2 years at this point. First, I didn't know where I'm heading. I just felt that everything I did in my life and everything I was just doing by creating these beautiful shapes of the poodles and these champions and everything that I did in my life in order to, gain this reputation in the grooming world, uh, led me to this point, but I didn't know what would be the next step. What would be the next step? And then finally, 2 days ago, I finally wrote it. I wrote, I'm leaving the industry. I'm done here. It's time for big change. It's time for reset. Not that I want to kind of turn on to industry telling all the stories that are not right. No, it's built a personal, it built me in a way that I'm able to, see the life differently and see the interaction between people and dogs differently, and then see how much I was obsessed with the coat itself and how much actually surface interaction in between me and dogs was happening, where I actually knew that something else gonna come on the horizon as a path to move on for. And that's, I'm struggling with that these days, and it's not good. It's not good for my the way I experience my health at this time, the way I can't sleep, my anxiety, my frustration level leads me again to overeating habits and everything like that. But it's that kind of time, because once I was taking the seat under my ass, as I can say that I was oftentimes giving a credit and attributes for. It was easy to be like a celebrity groomer, the poodle guide, having all of those dog champions in the resume, giving a lot to the industry. And now at one point I said, like, oh my God, it's time to move on. Where? I don't know. I don't know how this new adventure and chapter gonna look like. But what I really go through now is like highest level of anxiety that I ever experienced in my life. Bad sleep, overeating disorders, kind of thinking about like actually that I kind of lost my identity with knowing that I need to do a step forward without knowing where the heck that step need to be done. And for the not first time in my life, I was going through these slabs, but at least now I can recognize it. I can recognize it now as a part of the process, and I can see my anxiety as something that's kind of, it's not something that I need to deal on a medical level, on any level, because it's caused by my overthinking the situation that can be overthinked, because it's not something that I need to create out from putting a lot of puzzles. It's some new adventure that need to be invented, and it's coming from unseen places. So I don't know how, when I'm going to discover it, how it's going to look like. I remember this state of mind. I was, again, I can replicate that back when I was, dealing with the shampoo and conditioner, inventing the shampoo and conditioner. I was under so big stress and so much pressure that I ended up in this kind of environment again. So I can kind of relate that something is just about to click. What? I don't know. How it's going to happen? I don't know. I feel it's close, and I still can give it the words, neither meaning at this point. But today, because I was just about to cancel this show, can you just put the, because it's, I was just about to cancel this show because I was tired, because I didn't sleep last night well. And I said, like, oh my God, I need to kind of make this decision, because I had hired a personal trainer 3 months ago in order kind of, okay, I'm gonna be in shape. I'm gonna get myself up and running. I'm gonna put myself on the regime and on diet, not on a diet, on the well balanced food and everything. And then what happened in that life is actually I didn't get results because I was not dedicated to that. The guy was really on top of his calling. I was the bad student that was actually not giving his best to the task. But what happened today is actually that first time I felt like, okay, there is time to make a decision in behalf of everything I need to do. Because I can't do it if I'm depressed and if I'm anxious and if I'm fatigued. And the only way to get there is if I eat healthy, to get out from that. If I eat healthy, I get to the regime. I know I was there, I did it already. But then when I get caught in everything goes smooth and beautiful and I don't have time, I just get caught in a business all day long, then I don't have time for the time, and I don't have time for the healthy habits, no matter are they eating or exercise. I was never too big fan of exercise, because I was thinking, that you're gonna exercise to, burn the calories we put in ourselves by overeating. So I was always kind of trying to put myself on a balance, how much I need to eat not to gain weight, or how much I need to eat in order with this, in this environment that I have a day, that I can just fulfill my basic body needs and gain energy in order to sustain my daily work. Everything starts with a positive mental attitude. What I'm blessed with, actually, that I do know that my body and my chemical inside my body goes through some sort of kind of stressful situation. So obviously my cortisol level is very high. Why? Because I lost my identity. Why? Because I choose to. Why? Because I know that without that, there is no next step. It's not that I know who am I. It's that at this point, I know who I'm not and what I'm not anymore. And now I need to, purchase, learning my own, taking in my own medicine, that I went through this positive mental attitude. Now I need to create that vacuum that's going to bring in whatever my attention is. And my attention is on creating this new concept, never seen in the industry before, because it's not part of the industry. It's something new that has a dog and its master as an owner as a primal focus. It's not the beautiful hairstyle anymore. It's not the behavior modification anymore. It's not the perfect wellness anymore. It's all of that named differently, completely in different service, and completely in different direction. I don't know what it is, but I know it's going to appear if I stay focused on whatever my task is to do next. And then today I was just thinking about, okay, let's go. And I had this entire, line of, I don't know how many series we have so far. And exactly today was my time to talk about how we can enjoy health and live longer. Not to live longer in order to have longevity in a way, I'm going to live like 80 years, 100 years, 90 years because I'm scared of that. No, it's which kind of body and mind I need to have in order to serve my purpose, in order to have a strength to do what's required from me to do next. In order for me to live longer so I can eat more, I can enjoy life more. No, it's to radiate and bring everything that I did in a kind of bringing me to the point where I can embrace and engage in my own third portion of the life, make the difference. But I need strength. I need health to do that. I need time to do that. And I can't do that if I don't have a healthy body to help me achieve that. So in that entire position, the health plays a very important role in achievement on every one of us. So happiness can't be achieved if the body suffers. And the body we have completely under our control, because what we're going to put inside ourselves, it's our decision. What and how much we're going to eat, it's our decision. Everything else can be an excuse, but down the road comes to our decision and our approval and our commitment to it. Everything we eat and drink is a conscious decision on ours, and we can't we can't blame anyone else for us doing it. Now we can find a lot of excuses for that. My autoimmune disease is bad, and my this is bad, and that is bad, and I need to do that, and I drink a lot of pills, and I don't know what to do, and I have this disease, and because of that I'm that. But everything starts in positive mental attitude and decision. We can't push ourselves towards some goal if there is no goal. The goals are missing if the purpose of the life is missing. And oftentimes, we don't need to know what the purpose of the life is. We need to engage in where we are at this point, at the point of time and life, in order to recognize the next step. And we can't do that if we are sick. Not necessarily sick by some virus or some disease, or we are, put in a bed, but 99% of the all kind of the diseases that come and start with our choices that are inherited. Oftentimes, we all learned from our parents to eat the way we eat, and the eating habits, orders, and disorders are actually usually inherited. Oftentimes, very systemic. In order, it's a lot of background explanation of why someone is the way it is, or why I'm eating the way I'm eating, and why all of this is happening to me. It can be explanation, but shouldn't be an excuse for me not doing the right thing I should do. And why I'm not doing that? Because there need to be a straight line need to be cut somewhere down that road. Because what's older, chicken or the egg? So how am I going to go out from depression, and how I'm going to go out from the anxiety? By putting myself on the discipline first, or I need to get rid of the anxiety and depression in order to be able to get strength enough to put myself in the discipline. What's older? And everything starts with a positive mental attitude. The moment we make a decision now, not tomorrow, not Monday, not next week, now. And then we can also say, now it's time to do it. And there is no excuse not to do it. Back it up and see it. Am I strong enough to commit to that? Don't just commit because in every single self-help book it said that everything starts with a decision. No. Get yourself ready for the decision. Think about, admit that you're weak, not able to go through it, not able to make a decision. Allow yourself to be whoever you are at this point. Start observing your life as a witness of your own life and decision. Absorb and see that you are not able to commit because something else is missing. Self-confidence, self-esteem, selfness, I-ness, me, my purpose, where I'm coming from, what have I done as of so far, and where I'm going. All of those things, if we miss in place, we will never be able to make any decisions that will help us give more service to the life and the people that are in need of our services. So the longevity of the life and happiness of the life as its outcome should be in service of the others. Don't judging about why and how the people are living with their pets. I said 100 times, I talk about that. Two stories that I just mentioned to my friend this morning. One was about a dog that was coming to me like it was a poodle, and they were on schedule, weekly schedule. Every single week, someone was bringing that dog home to the grooming shop. And then I had a shop. I was a big star in the area, TV shows and this like that. So it was like really, really ego was, playing out everywhere. And then that was like cold shower when I said I played the attitude to the lady, like because she stopped coming and almost for 6 months the dog was not seeing the groomer. They didn't went elsewhere. And 6 months later they came to me. Can you imagine like a dog that was perfectly balanced, groomed every single day and every single week, to appear 6 months later without being groomed? And I, without any concerns, I started to lecture immediately that I should call the how you call that I should call the welfare animals, this, that, whatever. And I think the dog doesn't deserve that. I think that I put so much of my time in that dog, and I did myself, I did my everything. And the lady was just standing there like she was looking through me. I was just thinking why I'm doing all of that. So she would tell me like, yeah, I hear everything you say, but I'm sorry. I just, my daughter died like 6 months ago, and I just couldn't. I felt like I died too. And the only one little boy that I was having by my side was my little doggy. So she was so, I can't imagine, because you don't know how it's terrible to go through such a pain, and no one knows. Thanks God that oftentimes would be like that the lives go by its the destinies of the life, take a right turn. So it's never. Then I started, thinking, oh my God, like I should stop judging, because I never know the whole story. And from day on, I was just, giving dog, the dog was perfect as he was always, fed, well behaved, beautifully, but tangled, big nails. Um, Everything was off. But from the point of view that actually that little dog saved the life of the mom, moaning after her daughter, was kind of something that I felt ashamed of putting up like I did. And that was like a wake up call for me. The other one was little Betty, the story of the Bichon that it was imported from Russia. I was helping those people getting the dog, the best dog out there at that time. It was like maybe a long time ago, and I wanted to have like a perfect dog to show. So I put them on a schedule, and they come, and they live perfectly, and we start winning. And at once they just stopped communicating with me. No messages, no replies, no comings, no nothing. So I stopped messaging to them. I said maybe they relocated. It was like very, very wealthy and rich family. And then at one point, like I meet them downtown, and kind of a surprise, I came, approach, say hi, hello, everything was great. And I said, oh, you don't come, you don't bring Betty anymore. Like, is everything okay? She said, we gave her, we couldn't deal with the coat anymore because she looked perfect. But we had a great big yard, and she was always coming back very, very dirty and muddy. And in the food, when all of these girls that take care about the home would go home after 5 o'clock, like I would end up, brushing her. And she said, like, she lives amazing life. We just, gave her to the lady that usually she stayed with, the lady that was cooking at her home, so the chef, or how you call that, right? And she said she lives beautiful life with them. And then she takes her to one of my students, and they clip her very short because they don't have time to, adjust all of that coat and brushing and everything. I say, like, again, my fault that I didn't listen to the need of the family. So I didn't put the Betty according to the family need. I was putting the Betty according to what's good for the Bichon and how the Bichon should look like. And why, if you don't want to deal with the big coat, why you are buying a Bichon? Buy the little Jack Russell Terrier if you want a short-haired dog. But all of us know that it's not the same having a Bichon, no matter in which kind of coat, and Jack Russell Terrier, even if it's a dog shortly groomed with a 7F all over, it's not the same. If you have a short hair dog, no matter which, like especially Jack Russell, in a form of the dog's character. So, and then I actually understand how harmful oftentimes my judgment and decisions were for judging the people. Why do they not comply to the industry standards? And why I'm telling these stories when we need to speak about the health and longevity of the life, it's because they are very much connected. They're very much connected because oftentimes when we face a challenging new ways and possibilities, that is when we slip. That is when we go depressed. That is when we go fatigued. That is when we go ended in the clothes of the loyalty to the old belief system that we are not worthy of moving forward. We need depression, and we need all kind of that negative mental attitude that causes anxiety and depression to get back on track, not to move on. Because if it's to move on, then it's to understand that the depression and anxiety will lead to the new doors that open to the unknown. But what we usually do is we skip back. And then we try to, with the back habits, we get back to the back, everything we did back. Oh, now I feel safe because I'm back in where I do belong. I'm back where the people want me, where the people know me. I'm back in the environment that actually cares for me. But it's not like that. That environment, you don't belong because you are to go there. How I like the story of, I don't know who said that. He said, I was alcoholic and I was going after my job. I think it was Bob Proctor. He said, the biggest motivational speaker of our time. He said, like, he's now late. He died just a couple of months ago. But he said, like, I was struggling with alcoholism, alcoholic. I was an alcoholic. And every single time after I was done with my job, I was not, sometimes I didn't even have a job. So my entire job was at 9 o'clock to be at that particular bar. And there were the people sitting on their chairs. I had my table, I had my chair. I would just put up and everyone would know what I'm drinking. So I felt like I belong. And then when I finally made the decision not to go anymore and to try to change my life, to stop with addiction of alcoholism, I ended up not seeing that place for at least 10 years. I couldn't get back. So once I would put myself together, I was already flying on the wheels of something else. I came back to the same place just to see what's the feeling. I felt like I'm on a different planet, but you know what? All the people that I left 10 years ago were still there. And you know what's the biggest thing is? No one of them even realized that I was missing. So that is where actually our fatigueness, because, no one, a lot of people died of overdose and alcoholism issues and stress and everything that's related to the addiction, no matter on which level. But no one died of process of recovery. So once you sign up for the recovery, no matter which, like recovery of the sugar, of the overeating habits, of the alcoholism, drug addiction, whatever we were addicted to, and we sign up for the recovery process, it's terrible because it's looking like someone is cutting a piece of us and taking it away. But no one died of the consequence of rehabilitation, even though it's much, much terrible to go through the rehab than to experience addiction itself. And then what's happening, I know in myself, every single time I'm addicted to food, of overeating, and that is where I find my emotional security when I face challenges. And today, this morning, actually, I made finally a decision because I was leading myself to this point to be able to make a decision. And what a coincidence that today I'm kind of actually talking about that topic here. So I made my decision. Yeah, this will be the day that I actually start my routine in everything I know how to do and what to do, and I kind of equip myself with everything I need in order to be supported down that journey. So let's see how it's going to go. So never start beating the horse of addiction, of no matter which. until you are not ready. Until you are not ready. You will never be 100% ready until you do not start looking at your life as an observer. So when you do something that you wanna battle, you're gonna observe you doing that actually. And then you're gonna see how much harm you are doing to yourself and how you are actually preventing yourself being happy and healthy, not to live longer, just to, achieve and eat a birthday cake for 90 years. No, but to be more in service in years to come to the people and to this life, and everything that you was coming to this world for, you are fulfilling on a daily basis. And that's why it's important to get to know yourself, who you are, where are you coming from, why you are here, and where are you going. And down that path, the pleasures that we got caught in enjoying, short-term pleasures, are the ones that are trapped. A trap. What we need to do is to be brave, strong, to overcome challenges, to overcome iskušenja, how you say that? Temptations. So for that bravery and for that strength, we're going to be awarded with happiness. And everything starts in the mind with a positive mental attitude. They said that 100% of the known diseases, from the flu till the cancer, everything is psychosomatic. Everything starts in mind or in subconsciousness, in loyalty to the lives and the ancestors and everything that lived before us, in order to show them that we belong. We belong in something that we don't want to belong, but our heart and that inner calling, our soul kind of feel very warm. It's at the same time the biggest paradox of the life, will that self-destruction is because of some unknown reason feel so rewarding as a success on its own. And by self-sabotaging ourselves in every single sense, including the health-wise, we feel like we do belong to that line of the ancestors that suffered. Maybe they didn't suffer physically, they suffered emotionally, they suffered by working hours, they suffered on all kinds of different levels, and now it's my time to prove that I do belong to this line of inherited sufferness. And God doesn't want us to suffer. It's just a book. It's just a decision. It's just the observation of me doing what I'm born to do. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you so much for sharing your night with me, or wherever you're going to listen to this and see this. I'm ensuring you there is more to come on my little journey, as well as we are getting closer to the end of this podcast, where there is more, maybe like 5 or 6 episodes left. And after that, you can expect the book named The Grooming with the Positive Mental Attitude. Thank you so much for your time. See you next Monday at 6 o'clock Pacific time, right? 6 o'clock Pacific time. And until that, wish you all the best, and love you a lot. Thank you so much, and bye.